Welcome to the video today, Amazon Masters. You are in for a treat as I'm going to be interviewing Fernando Cruz. Him and his business partner sold over $15 million worth of products on Amazon last year and are projected to do $30 million this year. This is going to be an unbelievable video, so make sure you stick around to the end for all of these juicy nuggets. And listen, if you're someone who wants to build a business like that can free you up from the 9 to 5, that can give you time freedom back, free you up from the grip that money so easily places on time, then make sure you subscribe, turn that notification bell on, and you'll be on your way. All right, we're going to get into it. I'm interviewing Fernando Cruz, and I'm doing it right now. Awesome. Well, welcome to the video today, everyone. So pleased to have with me Fernando Cruz on the channel. And he is a seller who's doing 8 figures every single year on Amazon. So one of the guys doing, real top level stuff. So really privileged to have him on the show today. So we've got a few moments here just to ask him some questions about everything that they've been doing. He's, I'm sure Fernando will tell us a little bit about it in a moment, but him and a business partner have been building a business on Amazon that's seen some incredible results. So I'm here to drill down, find out some of the nuggets of truth that how he's done that and how we can actually apply that to our businesses too. So yeah, Fernando, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to over the last few years with Amazon?
Yeah, thanks so much, Ben, first for having me. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, so we've been selling on Amazon for a little over 4 years now. I started the business with one of my best friends from college. His name's Nick. And yeah, I mean, we came from tech before, and almost it feels like another life. But before that, we were in kind of corporate for a short time. Hated it. Yeah, we did the tech startups for a while, and then as we started kind of approaching like a few years within the startup realm, we kind of built this self-confidence of like, hey, yeah, we can start companies. And so yeah, we started like just kind of fast forwarding through everything, but yeah, we started selling on Amazon with. Well, the original idea was to sell on eBay, which is kind of hilarious. Like now thinking back, because yeah, sadly our eBay sales are really terrible. But yeah, I mean, it was started with the kind of foundation of like, well, why would we sell on eBay if we buy everything on Amazon? And so it was kind of this idea, like, can you even sell on Amazon? And the whole thesis, like for the business, was okay. There's all these brands that have to follow MAP, because they have all these resellers and everything. And so it's hard for them to lower their price. But like, we could try to identify those products that that are very similar and just add more value or cut the price. And we should take some percentage of the sales. Sure. And honestly, that's been our entire thesis pretty much throughout the entire lifeline of our business, just like add more value, and I think, yeah, I mean, it's been like a crazy ride. Now we have about like 65 employees, all virtual, distributed throughout the world. And yeah, I mean, we'll probably do around 30 million like this year, which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, we've launched probably like 300, 400 products, and yeah, it's just kind of going from there.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I've got so many questions about that already, but let's try and start from the sort of more basic stuff. Is that all through one Amazon account, one business, or is that spread across multiple? Or
good question. Yeah, so we have multiple accounts. Most of the revenue was in one account, and now we're really doing a better job of trying to set up multiple accounts. It's obviously a lot of risk to have one account. Yeah, actually, what was really scary is that we were down for like less than 48 hours like a week ago because of our like buyer, the feedback that we send afterwards. It was just like slightly too positive. And so yeah, I mean, obviously that was kind of a scare, but even before that, we had decided to make a move, like one of our quarterly initiatives, which was to set up multiple accounts just to have as kind of a hedge.
Yeah, sure. I won't get too much into that because obviously that's a grey area in itself and could be.
Yeah.
So let's talk about just some foundationals right first, and then I've got a few questions about some of the bigger scale stuff. Because a lot of the people obviously watching my channel will just be starting out and might think, geez, man, like 30 million, that's insane. How do I get there? But obviously you and I know that it's almost like a formula, right? So if you get the formula right, you can just repeat that. So what are the things that you would say are just like the pillars that have helped you to build to that scale?
Totally. Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. It is a formula. All the time we're asked, like, can you sell pet stuff or home kitchen stuff? It's all pretty much the same. I mean, there's some like slight variation, but it's all like kind of the same idea. Like, the main key, like the main pillar of Amazon private label is choosing the right product. If you choose the right product, everything else is going to be easier. Like, there's just no question about it. But I think, if you're trying to figure out like what are the main things to really like nail down, is, for sure product selection. Then next is like, creating a good listing that will sell, which isn't like, really that difficult, to be honest. Like launching that product and then staying in stock. Yeah. Like if you can like really master those 4 things, like you're gonna have a business. And then it just like then it's about you kind of like getting out of your way and like adding more products and just like kind of repeating that process, building teams. That's like when you get to like the larger size. But if you can nail those like 4 pillars, like you can easily run a 7-figure business, I think.
Wow. Yeah, so good. You talking about product selection being absolutely key there. You mentioned before that you've launched something like 300 or 400 products, which is amazing. Right. What would you say is, what would your success rate of that be? Would that be the amount of products you have live right now, or have you launched those and some you don't sell anymore? Talk us through that process a bit and why that might happen.
Totally, yeah. I mean, that's, since inception. Right now, we probably have around 250 selling at any point in time. And yeah, some will be out of stock, some like phase out over time. It just really depends. But yeah, I mean, we did like UK and Europe for a long time. It didn't really work as well for us, I think. Oh, really? And so, yeah, I mean, I think overall, when you're asking about like success rate in the US, it's probably like 80 to 90%. It's pretty high. And yeah, like I would say that's usual our success rate. For the UK, it was actually like a little bit lower, probably like 60%. And so that's like a big reason why we decided to focus on the US.
Yeah, right. And what did you find were the reasons for that? UK, Europe, what were the struggles you had there?
Yeah, great question. So I think the biggest thing, and this is true to us, not necessarily to anybody else, but if we have like 90 or 85 or 90% of our revenue coming from one channel, like, and we look at the US and Europe as a different channel, then like we're going to focus on the bigger channel. And so I think naturally, like, because the US was so much bigger, we started there, we had launched more products there, we spent more time focusing on it. And so it was kind of like a convenient thing where it's like, okay, well, we have this product doing well in the US, let's just bring it to the UK. And like, I think that worked in the beginning, but over time, as we started splitting resources and trying to develop products for the UK and for US at the same time, it didn't have the same amount of sales. We didn't know the market as well. And when we had a miss, it was a lot harder for us to liquidate inventory since we didn't have the same like resources. It doesn't also have like the same like launch services and like all that kind of stuff is kind of a little bit behind. So I think it's a great market if you're going to focus on there. Of course, like, I've heard of people going into like, 8 figures incredibly fast in UK and Europe. But I think it's just all about focus. And I think, when we're talking about like how we scale to 8 figures so fast, I think that was actually one of the biggest things is that like when something didn't work and we had those kind of early indicators, we'll just like cut it. But like, I think now we're even more disciplined as entrepreneurs and we're like, okay, this is not going to really like add like, incremental like value based on like our size and where we're going to be. So we're not going to even do it. Like, like a lot of people, love like going on Walmart and eBay and adding those sales. But like where we think about, oh, should we optimize Walmart? Like, it's a big channel. There's no question about it. But if we like really just focus on Amazon and what we're really good at, we will grow much bigger, much faster. And so now we're more disciplined in doing it.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good. I love that idea of focus. I think it is really important. And it's funny because it's almost the opposite for me. Like I started in UK and Europe. Like I'm from the UK, so I started here. I didn't realize, to be honest, that when I first started a few years ago, that you could actually sell in other countries that you didn't live in, right? I was so green. And because we started and we built up, you say customer base, revenue, and because of that focus, then actually now we're in the position where, selling in the US is far less profitable for us, and it's almost like a burden, whereas UK and Europe's go so well, and it's kind of exactly what you said, but the other way. So it's funny that.
Totally. Oh yeah, and that reminds me, economies of scale. Like we're sending, 5-10 times more products to the US, and so it's cheaper per unit. So our margins are better too. So it's actually way more profitable. Exactly. But yeah, totally, exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's funny. So talk us through, because that's a great hit rate, product wise, product selection, launching, etc. Talk us through, just for those people starting out, what's been the criteria that has really underpinned your success in terms of product selection?
Totally. Yeah. So the first one is price point. We typically go for like $15 to $50. 15 we use as a floor just because if you're gonna have PPC and storage, and we account for all that kind of stuff in our product evaluation sheet, then you have to have some kind of minimum. $50 we kind of see as like the high end of an impulse purchase, so it's a little bit easier. I would say that's a big piece. We look at like contribution margin, so that's basically after all the variable expenses. So after the FBA fees, after the referral fees, obviously your cost of goods landed. Again, like we budget for storage and PPC spend, all that kind of stuff. After all those variable expenses, that's your contribution margin, and we try to shoot for at least 28%. Our average right now is a little bit higher, probably like 30, 32. And then, we look at like ROI as well. So like, that's like a big one. So same, taking that contribution margin, you divide it by your cost of goods landed, and then we're shooting for at least 150%. So for every dollar that we invest in like our product, getting our product or buying our product from the manufacturer and getting it to the US or the UK, for example, then we need to make at least $1.50 in profit for each one of those products. So those are some of the big things. Understanding your competition is obviously a big one. Like, how do you merchandise? How are you going to stand out? Because as time goes on, there's just more and more sellers. So what kind of criteria are you looking at to know that you can beat them? That's another big piece. I would say those are like the key elements, in my opinion, to the product.
Yeah, no, for sure. That sounds good. And you talked about something earlier. The more I'm learning about Amazon is that the more and more time goes on, the more we need to be, data driven and, really analyze things well. And people, I think too often they would just want to throw a product up that they think is going to sell well, that personal, passionate about this, or people would love this, but they don't do the analysis. Do you think, because you talked about your tech background, do you think that's helped you scale fast because of that, mindset, tech, analysis, data? Has that helped you on that journey?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that question. So when I say tech background, just to make sure, like, we were like in sales and marketing. Okay. So definitely not like tech in the, like, I'm programming. I wish. I think that'd be super, super helpful. I mentioned that I came from corporate. I did work in finance before. And so I think the finance side does help with the analysis piece and like kind of thinking about things in a little bit, more analytical way. So I would say, my experience with finance does definitely help in terms of like breaking down the numbers. But I think like, but I do think it's not like I wasn't in finance for very long. So it was like a year, and honestly, it was like I didn't learn that much. So I wouldn't say that it was like really like groundbreaking or anything.
Okay. Yeah, cool. And then about in terms of what you're selling, do you are you focused in on like a brand or two, or is it kind of really spread abroad? How do you deal with that?
Yeah. So most of our products are in home and kitchen. We do have maybe 7 brands right now, kind of scattered across. It's just like if it fits or it doesn't fit. And so, we're always, trying to build like audiences and emails and like all that kind of stuff now. Like now that we have a bigger team, we really try to focus on, especially as things get more competitive on Amazon, we know that like being able to like, to really hold on to those audiences will be really important. But in terms of brands, probably about 7 or 8, I would say right now. And I would say that's probably where we're at.
Yeah, great. And what would you say to someone that says, oh, it's all right for you, Fernando, you've been doing this years, and now you've got like a foothold in the market. You've probably got products with thousands of reviews, and it's just easy for you. Like someone starting out fresh in 2019, what would you say to them? Is Amazon FBA dead? If you're starting out right now, how do you deal with that mentality?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I don't agree with that at all, because we're planning to grow, right? We did 15 last year. We're projecting at 30 this year, and obviously a lot of the growth comes from just being better in stock and doing a better job managing the SKUs and things like that. Mm. But like a huge percentage, probably about like 30% of the growth, is coming from new products, if not more. Mm. And so what that means to me is that like those new products, like, you could do like a new seller. Like, yeah, we have made more cash to be able to launch that many products, but like but that inherently means that there's still a ton of opportunity. And like we announced this publicly, but like, yeah, our like BHAG, or big, hairy, audacious goal for 2021 is to hit 80 million. So that means that between now and then, like, we need to find like 50 million, or actually by the end of this year to then, it's like another 50 million in new products, right? And so, yeah, I mean, like, I don't agree with that at all. I think, like, truthfully, it's like an excuse to not do something, and like, it's probably not a popular view. But yeah, like I really believe there's just so much opportunity on Amazon, and like, even if you decide, okay, like US is too competitive, like UK is too competitive, like there's still, like, you can go to Japan, you can do like Germany, you can do, like, there's so many markets and there's just so many categories. I think that, yeah, truthfully, it's an excuse to not do the hard thing and actually get started.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because I mean, there's so much that I would love to sort of ask you if we had 5 hours to delve into. Like 65,
yeah.
65 employees. I've got so many questions about that, but let's leave that to one side for a minute. Our last question before we get into, because I want to talk a bit about sort of the marketing side of it, right? Because I think that's where you guys really come into your own, is the building those audiences and how you're going about doing that.
Right.
But before we do that, one quick question for you, something I've been thinking about a lot and starting to think about a lot more with my business, is that thought of one day selling that business. Is that something that's on your guys' sort of timeline, or are you not even thinking about it? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we go back and forth. Like, there was times where we were like in trouble, like early on in the business, and we're like, man, if someone would just take this for $1 million, we would just like get rid of it immediately. And it's really changed. I think it's all about how you build the business, right? Like, if you have like one product, it carries all, and so I'm trying to describe the worst case scenario. But if you have one product, you're doing all the support, you're handling every aspect of your business. This one product is carrying a ton of your profit. Like, you like have everything in one account. Like, of course, like, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility there, and so you're probably going to want to sell, right? Just because it's not a good experience. But like, what we've really tried over the last, maybe 18 months is to build a business that we wouldn't want to sell. So we build teams that handle like putting out all the fires, that can scale without us, like, multiple accounts. Like, we're trying to get it so that no one product is more than 1% of our profit. Like, all that stuff, like building like a real business and not thinking of it as like a kind of fly by night, like kind of just like a flip, if you will. And so I think, my position for the last probably, like year and a half is that I'm so excited about the Amazon industry. Like, I don't want to sell. Like, I am very, very confident that we will build it to over $100 million a year. And like, at that point, it's like, yeah, maybe if there's like this other like burning desire to start a whole new company that's completely different, then like we'll probably pursue that. But right now, like, I love the team. Like, I love our culture. Like, I enjoy going to work every day. And so besides taking money off the table, which like we could do now, like it's a fun place to be. And so I don't really see that like desire to like to just sell and like hang on to the beach. Like, it's just not who I am, to be honest.
Yeah, sure. No, it's good. And I think I love that, because I think it really gives, especially new sellers as well, just that confidence in Amazon. You know, that there's people that aren't just trying to get out of it and trying to just sell informational stuff or courses or whatever. There's people that are invested in this, and I think me too. I had a bit of a U-turn probably 6 to 12 months ago, because there was a point where you're like, oh, it's too stressful, too much risk, I just want to get out of it. I just realized that actually if you build the business well, and if you do set things up right to mitigate risk, like Amazon has got so far to run yet. I don't want to get out of this game too early, and so it's good to hear you say similar stuff. It's good.
Yeah, actually, this weekend I was reading Ben Horowitz's book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. Okay. And you just like hear that his story about how he built his was not Loudmouth, Loud something, but that company, just like his whole story of like volatility and like almost going under, then like going public, then like just like it's just crazy. It just reminds me so much of Amazon. Just like, I mean, a lot of it is like volatile, but I think you learn from your mistakes, you build like networks, you hear about what's going on, and like you build like a little bit of resistance every time. Mm-hmm. And I think like for those that can like last and deal with it, there's going to be a huge consolidation. And I think like you'll be a way better business person for having gone through that. Yeah. This is my opinion.
No, I completely agree. 100%. There are challenges, but those challenges make you a better business person. They force you to build a better business. So either that or you quit. So,
Yeah, totally.
So talk to us a bit about marketing then, right? So you guys have been developing this tool, which I'm just currently trying it out, and it's just just blowing my mind about what you can actually do with it. But there's so much potential to market off Amazon, right? But obviously one of the restrictions that you guys would face in building that a real brand, and everyone would face, is that Amazon obviously controls so much of the data, the users' data, etc. Just talk to us a bit about how you guys do that, and this tool that you've been developing.
Right. Yeah, it's a great question. So I mean, the fun thing about Amazon is, they own the customer. Like, there's very, very specific rules. You cannot target them and all that kind of stuff, which sucks because, as an e-commerce company, that's the lifeblood. And so I think, kind of going back to those 4 pillars, I do of building an Amazon business, I really believe that as you're like building your business, you should really only focus on those things. So I would not worry about your ManyChat funnels and your email blasts and your social media profiles in the beginning, because it's just a distraction, and you just got to get good at launching products and choosing products and getting all that stuff. But I think as you get bigger, like, for us, we're thinking about like, okay, how do we create, more moats? How do we like really like add gas to the fire? And so one of the big things is like audiences. And so we basically created Pixelfy, and that's in partnership with one of like the bigger software creators in the Amazon space that we're friends with, Leo. And so he's done ZonJump, Rebate, he's on Pages, like a bunch of like the more well-known software in the space. And so he basically created all these crazy links that basically help you do everything that you need in the Amazon space. So he basically approached us with this like idea for the software. We decided to partner on it. And so, I mean, we created like, the Supreme URL, which like by far and away, like helps you rank way easier, just because he's got tens of thousands of like data points with launches from ZonJump, which is really helpful. Yeah. And we also have like search, find, buy. That's that's much more automated than you would normally do. Like, add to cart, all that kind of stuff. But the cool thing is that it's also a link shortener, and you can also add a Facebook pixel. And so like, for those that are like kind of getting new to marketing, it's incredibly, incredibly important to basically every time someone clicks a link is that you're pixeling them. And so like, let's say I have like, a pets brand, and I give this link to like an influencer, for instance, then it's 1, embedding the keywords so that it's going to rank for them. And then 2, anybody that clicks on that link, I'm going to pixel them. And then so I know these are all people that are interested in pets products. So I can kind of remarket them really easily, whether it's through like Facebook ads or like ManyChat or whatever I want to do. But like I have that audience forever, which is super.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I think that, early on that might not be as powerful because, you can only send them so much information about your one product that you launch with. But when you've got 10, 15, 20 products, then that obviously becomes a really good opportunity to then remarket Facebook ads, etc.
Totally. And it took us a while to kind of figure this stuff out. But I think is, Amazon is amazing at making us lazy as like e-commerce entrepreneurs, right?
So true.
They've simplified so many things, right? Like from the fulfillment side to a lot of the customer support side, like to the user acquisition side. And so like as things get, like bigger, like, you do have to find new ways to kind of stand out. And so that this tool is really helping solve those issues in terms of like I guess almost like training wheels for becoming a better marketer, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm writing that down, man. I'm gonna tell people that Amazon has been great at making us lazy. It's so true, so true.
Yeah.
No, and like you say, it's so important to learn the skills of a marketer. Because if you're going to build a real business beyond just a few random products, it's so essential. So
totally.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I really value the time. I know you're super busy, so we'll end the interview in a sec. But just give me, can you maybe just give me like one last either inspiration nugget or just strategy, anything that you think that actually this might really help these guys, just to really build a successful business on Amazon.
Yeah, inspiration.
Sorry, man.
Man, like honestly, I think. And I think this falls true of anyone. Like, everyone has like these specific kind of mountains they have to climb, right? Like, maybe it's launching your first product. For me, like I've never bought a piece of real estate. Like I've had the money, like just haven't taken that plunge. And it's one of the things that I really want to do this year. And for whatever reason, like that's my own like personal challenge. And I think, building a business is for a lot of other people. And I think like the main, like, I guess takeaway is that like, honestly, people much like like less intelligent than you, with like less time than you, with like less resources, have done it. Like I've heard like so many of my friends from like MDS, like the $1 Million Seller Group, have these crazy stories of like having been homeless or like worked like like an hourly job beforehand, or like I've done these like crazy like kind of Cinderella stories. And like I don't think that makes like just having said like, oh, I don't have time or whatever, it's not an excuse. Like it's just like you're just choosing to not do it. And so like, yeah, hopefully, through watching these videos and like, reaching out and like learning from people, like you'll find the inspiration to like get it done. Because honestly, anybody can do it.
Yeah, so true. No, it's so good, man. I think, that inspiration is so important, because I think people do sit and hear about, things like we've been talking about and think like, oh, I could never do that. But yeah, the reality is that all of us started somewhere, and for sure, man, that's great inspiration. Awesome. Well, listen, we really appreciate your time. And listen, guys, if you're watching and you want to learn more from Fernando and his team and his partners, then I'll leave some links in the description below, and you can join Facebook groups, subscribe to YouTube channels, and do all that kind of stuff, and watch and learn from these guys. I'm in their group. I see them posting updates about their business all the time, and it's seriously good stuff. So make sure you get involved. And thanks for watching today. And thanks, Fernando, for taking the questions and coming on the channel today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, anytime. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, man, my head hurts after that interview. I don't know about you, but for me, that was just nugget after nugget. Such great content from someone who's actually building a successful business on Amazon. It's interesting, right? The perspective of how Fernando and his business partner have, they struggle with UK and Europe because they're so focused on the US, and whereas in my business it's almost like the opposite. And so just funny how like it's different but the same, and just loads I took out of that. I don't know about you guys, even if no one that's watching got anything out of that, I got an absolute ton out of it. One of the things that really stuck out for me was how he said that Amazon has done a great job at making us lazy, as business owners, making us lazy, because they've helped us so much with FBA, they've helped us so much with marketing our products, because they bring all this amazing traffic to us, and so many things that Amazon have built successfully that have actually enabled us to build businesses but have caused us to be lazy. And in this changing landscape with Amazon, it's so important that we don't be lazy. It's so important that we do learn the best practices. I have so many conversations with people like, I'm struggling to find a product, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that, and the reality is what a lot of people are struggling with is the work. right? They think that Amazon is this, easy business just to throw a product up and our lives are going to be changed. But no, it's not. It's a real business that takes real work. But the good thing is to know is that if we do put that real work in, then we too can, build a business that looks like the business that Fernando has built and his business partner have built. Last year, 15 million in sales. Next year, 30 million. This coming year, $30 million in sales projected, and the goal for the following year of $80 million. Unbelievable. I love the audacity. I love the, just confidence that these guys have in the Amazon marketplace. Listen, what I said before is all about building the right skills into your skill set. That's what's going to separate you from every other seller on Amazon. Amazon done a great job of making us lazy, so it's really important that we consistently drive ourselves to upskill. One of the great skills you can learn as a marketer selling on Amazon is the ability to generate traffic, is the ability to build an audience. Fernando talked there about a tool called Pixelfy, which is a new tool. He described a bit in the video, and make sure you do stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because next week I'm actually going to do a full comprehensive review of the Pixelfy service and really tell you what I think about its ability to help you in building your business. So make sure you do stick around for that one if you want some more detailed knowledge of that. If you are looking to build your skills as someone beginning selling on Amazon, then make sure you do pick up my free ebook in the description below to learn the basics of selling on Amazon. Or if you're ready to take the full-on dive into selling on Amazon, make sure you do check out the information on the Amazon Masters program below. Ridiculously cheap price, incredible support, great content. You will love it. Check it out below. Lastly, if you like this content, you want to see more of this kind of thing, let me know in the comments below if you're enjoying it. Also hit that like button. I would really appreciate that, and I will see you in the next video.